In this project, we realize a dataset of Apple, Google, and Meta stock prices. Firstly, we can see the relationship of Apple, Google, and Meta stock prices with each other, and secondly, we can define the year-by-year analysis of these three companies. This dataset is from 7 September 2017 to 7 September 2022. So before going into our analysis, let's take a look into the business problem. We have to make a dashboard, and in this dashboard we have to make a different kind of visual like open and the close stock prices of Apple, Google, and Meta, and we have to perform this by year analysis. Secondly, we have to define the maximum high stock prices and minimum low stock prices of Apple, Google, and Meta, and we have to define year analysis. And in third, we have to define the adjust close stock prices of Apple, Google, and Meta, and we also have to perform the year analysis. And in the visualization, we have in the last visualization, we are making a volume of stock trades and of Apple, Google, and Meta, and we have to perform year analysis. And in the key performance indicator, we have to make measures of different kind of average open, average close, average high, average low, average adjust close, and average volume of all of these three companies of Apple, Google, and Meta. And we also have to make a slicer of according to a date as a filter. And in the measures in terms of the KPIs, we're using different kind of measures of open, close, high value. So first you define the average open stock value. In the average open stock value, we have to calculate the average of open stock prices of all of the three companies like Google, Meta, and Apple. And secondly, we have to define the average of close stock prices of all of three companies. And the third, we have to define the average high stock prices for the three of the companies. And the fourth, we have to define the average low stock prices of all of the three companies. And in second last, we have to define the average adjust close stock prices of three of companies. And the last, we have to define the average volume for all of the three companies. We have defined a different kind of measures for it. So let's start our analysis, and I'm using Microsoft Power BI server. I'm opening my Microsoft Power BI server and then get data.text.csv, and now I'm selecting my file where I save it. Firstly, I'm uploading data of Apple stock prices, and then I'm going to load. It takes a little bit of time. And now I'm going again to get data. And then text.csv, and this time I'm going to download the stock price of Google and then load data. We can load our dataset by using a different kind of method. You can either go into get data and then text.csv, or either you can go to get data and text.csv and then go to transform tab, and then in the transform tab you can upload the both of the other two files, but I'm using this method. Now all the three files are being uploaded. Firstly, I'm checking the data type of all the columns that in an over 3 dataset. All the columns have the correct data types, like the values that is in the date format have a date data type, and the values that in the numerical format have a numerical data type. The one thing more that we have to do in the transformation is renaming our column name, but we will do it later. I'll explain you why we are doing it after that. Now I'm close and apply my data. Now you can see under the data tab all the columns of our 3 tables here. Now I'm moving toward my modeling tab, and I'm connecting my 3 tables by date. As you can see, date is a primary key in all of the 3 tables, so I'm making the connection of one by one and connecting all of 3 tables to each other. And now I'm going to my report tab and making the canvas background into light gray just for better for visualization. Now I'm setting the title of our dashboard. setting its font style into 20 and font size into 28, and setting its title as Apple, Google, and Meta stock prices analysis, and making it into a center. Now we have to perform our first analysis of open and close stock prices year by year. So firstly, we have to make the visualization for the open stock prices of Apple, Google, and Meta, and I'm selecting date from any of the three dataset that is our data. And we have to perform a year by year analysis. We did not need to have a quarter, day, and a month, because we have performing year by year analysis, so we just need a year by year. So now if we look at our data, we have sum of open, sum of open, and sum of open, but we did not know either the sum is for Apple or Google or Meta. So I'm just renaming all of the columns that is in my data set. It is helpful for us for the visualization to make a difference of which of these categories being belonging from one of the three data set that we have. I'm making it for Apple, Google, and Meta. Also, these changes like the column name changes, because now when we visualize our data, so in our data we have a sum of open Google, sum of open Apple, and sum of open Meta, and same is for close, high, and low, and volume values. Now I'm changing it for Meta. Date is one of the primary key that we have to use in all of the three columns, so we did not need to write the Apple, Meta, or Google name in the name of the data. Now if we look back into data, we have sum of open Meta, and sum of open Google, and sum of open Apple. So this is our first visualization, and in the second visualization we have to perform close stock prices. So I'm choosing close stock prices in all of the three companies, and then date from any one of the dataset that we have, and I'm removing the year, I'm removing the month, day, and quarter, because we have to perform a year by year analysis. So our second visual is set, and now we have to move the maximum high value and minimum low stock prices, and we have to also perform this analysis on the basis of year by year analysis. I'm using high of Apple, high of Google, and high of Meta, and then selecting date from any of the columns, and I'm removing quarter, month, and date, and setting into maximum of high value of all of these columns that we're using in this visual. And I'm making into stock column chart. If you look, we have 100% stock column chart, but 100% stock column chart did not represent data into a better sense, so I'm choosing stock column chart. And now we have to represent the low stock prices, and we have to set the minimum of low stock prices for all of the three values, three columns that is in our data set. And I'm also representing in the form of stock column chart, but now we can see which year has more value and which has low value. So now we have to find adjust close stock prices of Apple, Google, and Meta. So I'm choosing adjust close Apple and Google and the Meta, and the date from any one of the columns, and we have to perform year by year analysis. So I'm removing day and a quarter. I'm not removing month for this time because it's look little bit arrangement into our data, like it is better for our data visualization. Now you can see that now we have to perform volume of stock trades by year analysis. So I'm choosing volume of all of three data set that's in data, and I'm representing it in the form of line chart. And we have to choose a year, and I'm removing day and a quarter. So now here is our all of the six visualization are being final. Now we have to move toward KPIs, key performance indicator, in which we have to make a different kind of measures, and also we have to make a slicer of a date for if someone wanted to analyze their database on specific kind of dates. So it is helpful for using a slicer. Now we are moving toward our measures part. In first we have defined average open stock value. So I'm choosing any one of the column and then clicking on it and then finding a new measure, and I'm giving the name of measure as to be average stock price, average open stock price. And for this, firstly I'm choosing calculate, and then I'm choosing average X, and then our Apple column, our Apple table name, and then our Apple and our table, our column name open Apple, and then I'm taking plus sign and then average X, and then our second table name of Google, and then I'm selecting the open stock prices from the Google, and I'm choosing the our third table of a Meta by in the function of average X, and then the open prices of Meta in the average X function. By using this, we can get the average prices of average open prices of Apple, average open prices of Google, and average open prices of Meta, and then we can get the sum of all of these three values. Now I'm moving toward our other visual, in which you have to define the average of closed stock prices. I'm using the same method of calculate and the average X, and then our first table name, and then close price of this first table name, and then choosing average X second column name, and then choosing the third column name in the average X and the close prices of this table. So now by using this, we can get the average close stock prices of all of the three tables that in our data set. Now I'm defining average high stock prices, and I'm using the same method as I'm using the first two measures of average of calculate and average X. As you can see that now we are moving toward our fourth measure, in which we have to define the average of low stock prices. In all of these six measures, we are using the same DAX function of calculate and then average X. In the average X, firstly we can get the table name and then the column in this table, and secondly we can add the second table name and then name of the column, and thirdly we can get the third table name and the name of the column in the third table. Now I'm defining the average adjust close stock prices. So I'm using calculate and then average X. As I defined earlier, this average X can get the average of this column, average of three columns, and then add it and then give us the value of average of three values in it. This function is very helpful when you are using, we wanted to calculate the average values that belong to different kind of columns, that belong to different kind of tables in our data set. In the last, I'm defining the measure of average volume. I'm using calculate and then average x function for all of the three volume values in over all of the three data set. We have to write the close bracket and then our measure is defined. Now I'm choosing card for representing my measures, and I'm going to my visual format tab and the call out and making this size into 37 and also changing the label size into 10. Now I'm setting it decimal points into 0, and I'm just copying the 6 measures because I did not want it to change their font size, their value size and their label size again and again. So I just copy and paste it. Now in our second visual card, I'm removing the average of open stock price and replacing with average close stock price and making into a decimal point of 0. And for third, I'm choosing average high stock prices and making decimal point into 0. And now for the fourth, I'm choosing average low stock prices and removing the other values that is in our visual card. And the fifth, I'm choosing average HS close prices, and the last I'm choosing average volume. And for all of these value measures, I'm just removing a decimal point and making into a 0 decimal points. Now the second last thing that we have to do is define the key insights that we derive from all of these visuals. So I'm choosing my font size and font style and then defining my key insights. I'm making a bullet points, and now for the first, if you look into the first visual of sum of open Apple, sum of open Google and sum of open Meta by year, so you can see that the Meta has highest values than Apple and the Google. So firstly, I'm driving this insight from our open stock prices that Meta has highest open stock prices than Apple and Google. So, and from the second visual, we can drive that same Meta has a highest close stock prices than Google Apple. So instead of rewriting again, I'm just copying my first visual and pasting it and removing the open with close. And for third visual, you can see Meta has also highest values rather than to be a Google and Apple. And also, and the third visual we're seeing the Google and Apple has low values than the Meta. So I'm using the same inside, but I'm just replacing the high stock prices with the open stock prices. In the fourth visual, we drive that Apple and the Google has low stock prices than Meta. You can drive these insights by seeing into the dashboard. It's not that much more difficult task, like describing which thing is on highest and which thing is on lowest. For our fifth visual, as you can see, Meta has highest adjust close stock prices than Google and Apple. I'm just copy pasting my inside and then replacing the open with close adjust stock price. This copy and pasting just for taking less time. And now the last, you can see Apple has highest volume than Meta and Google. So these are our insights, and now we're moving toward the year by year analysis, like in which year there is a more open stock prices. So for the first visual, you can see in 2021 we have highest open stock prices. So I'm choosing the overall open stock prices is high in 2021. If you look into the first visual, you can drive this insight. And now from the second visual, you can see close stock prices are high in 2021. In third visual, you can also see that stock prices high stock prices are high in 2021. And low stock prices are also being in greater demand in 2021. Now from the fifth visual, you can see that adjust close prices overall adjust close prices are high in 2021. We just have to remove these two lines because it is written by mistake. And in the last, we have to define the overall volume is high in. Now you can see in 2020 overall volume is high on the year of 2020. So now we have, these are all the insights that we can drive from this dashboard. First, we can describe the comparison of a Meta, Google, and Apple. And secondly, we can define by year analysis, like in which year there has been more open prices, closed prices, and all the other stock prices. Now I'm choosing this theme of a city park, something like that, name for my dashboard, and I'm changing the name of my dashboard. I'm removing the aggregated function like sum, maximum, minimum in all of the 6 visualization that is in my dashboard. Now I'm changing the column name for my last 2 visualization, just for the better for the visualizations. Now I'm going into my effects, into my format tab in the journal, and then I'm opening the visual borders and making into a white color, and I'm also opening the shadow color, and I'm using the format pattern just to use all of these visual borders and shadow into all of the other visuals that is in my dataset. This format painter is very helpful for formatting the different kind of effects that you're using in your dashboard. And I'm making the background of canvas into pure white color, aesthetic and transparency in 100. Now if you look into the date, and you can change the date into the by using the slicer, or you can either be defined according to specific dates. So this is all the things that we have to do in our dashboard. If you really be interesting, or you're new to data analysis fields, or you wanted other projects related to SQL, Python, or Power BI, then stay tuned with us. Thank you.